You know, guys, I often find myself wondering why there are so many sick, twisted, and morally bankrupt Christians out there like the one that I'm going to be talking about in this video. I mean, I'm genuinely concerned. What makes these individuals tick? What makes these individuals literally think that it is totally necessary for them to share their bigotry and hatred with people who are simply different, especially when it comes to women? Now, I honestly think that these Christians, these morally bankrupt Christians, have this horrible view that women are somehow less than them, and that is why they take every opportunity that they can to drag women through the mud as much as they can. Now, I know that the answer may be this ideology known as Christianity, because we have seen evidence of the horrible influence that Christianity has on society, especially when it does come to women. But I still have a question. How are these individuals able to wake up with themselves every morning? How are these individuals able to wake up in the morning knowing that they are going to consider other people who are different less than human? That's the whole question that I have here. How do they come up with this horrific perception, if you will, of other people? Because it's simply nonsense to me. And like I've said many times before, guys, I actually think that this ideology robs them of any kind of rational thinking. We've seen evidence of this all over the place in this country. We see how this irrational thinking damages society. We see how this irrational thinking holds society back from developing. You know, we are no strangers to any of this at all. And this is why I'm making this video, because I stumbled across an article, man, that is totally disgusting, because it involves one of the most sick and twisted Christians that I have ever known about, to be honest with you guys. And that is why I'm taking this opportunity to feature this bigoted asshole in the light, because I want people to see who this person is. I want people to see just how morally bankrupt this individual is. More importantly, I want people to see just how morally bankrupt this ideology is as well. The ideology known as Christianity, the ideology that this bigoted individual believes in. Hello everybody, the Quiet Atheist here yet again with another very interesting video for you guys today. Now, before I get into anything regarding this video, as usual, I do want to let you guys know that the article in its entirety will be provided in the description down below for everybody to take a look at, just in case you guys are interested. Now, like I said earlier, guys, let's get started with the article. And let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, because I would really be interested in seeing what you guys have to say about this bigoted Christian. The ever-disturbing biblicalgenderroles.com posted a letter this week from a woman seeking advice from the anonymous Christian behind the site. She laid out a disturbing picture of abuse and rape by her husband and detailed her struggle to reconcile her notion of a Christian woman's duty to provide sex to her husband with the impact it actually had on her. She wondered, is her husband raping her? Now, guys, I actually think that this particular woman in question does have valid concerns. And here in a little bit, you guys will actually see why I have that opinion in the first place. Among a number of troubling passages, she writes in that quote, "My husband has sex with me whether I want it or not, all of the time. It has tainted our marriage and our sex life to the point of disgust. Even when I would cry, he would still have sex with me. I can read a book and he will still have sex with me. I have tried to tell him how this makes me feel. I have begged and pleaded with him not to do this to our marriage, that I feel like his whore or his piece of trash. He does not care. I have told him this is not love. This is not biblical love. I do not feel loved and he does not care. I hate when he touches me. It literally makes me sick to my stomach. I became so deep in depression because of it. I will be so sad and heartbroken after we have sex sometimes, and he will actually ask, 'What is your problem?' She concludes with this, and I quote, And just a side note, I am not a feminist. I am very biblical when it comes to God's way and not being in this world, but of this world. So I do get what you are saying about not denying your husband of sex. But what do you do when it has turned into what, yes, I would call rape? Now, I actually think, guys, that what this Christian man did to his wife was absolutely horrible. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, this particular Christian in question had no right to force himself on his wife like that. But the problem that I have with all of this, guys, is the fact that this ideology known as Christianity gives men like this illusion that women don't have any authority over themselves, that women have to remain silent and just simply have to be there for their husbands every time that they want them. And this is simply ridiculous. I will continue to stand against this barbaric behavior over and over again. I will continue to stand against this barbaric ideology when it simply implements this religious propaganda in society as we know it. Because we can actually see what this type of morality, if you will, what this type of ideology does to society. This article is another prime example of that. This woman is literally going through so much shit psychologically, but it seems to me that there is nobody there to help her within her own circles that she runs in. This is sad and pathetic. And here in a minute, you guys will actually see why I think that, the people within her circles are actually not helping her. They are actually harming her. And this is something that infuriates me time and time again, you know. So what does this woman do after this altercation with her husband multiple times? She wanted to get some help with this whole situation, so she went to people that she thought that she could trust the most. That was her mistake. So guys, the Christian website that she went to for help is the same website that has previously stated there is no such thing as rape between a husband and wife, biblically speaking. Still, you'd hope that such a letter might elicit some faint flicker of humanity, if only for the added human dimension in what was previously a discussion of hypotheticals. On the contrary, the site's purveyor of Bible-based misogyny takes it upon himself to explain how this is not only not rape, but pretty much all her fault. He does this by examining a series of questions springing from her letter. He starts by explaining why it isn't wrong for a husband to have sex with his wife when he knows it will cause her pain. Do you guys see how morally bankrupt this is? Do you guys see how morally bankrupt that this particular Christian is? This sickens me to no end, guys. And I know that there are Christians that are going to be out there who are going to throw the no true Scotsman fallacy against the wall and basically say that this guy in question isn't a Christian. Well, I got news for you Christians out there who think that the no true Scotsman fallacy is the answer. This individual believes in an alleged creator just as much as you guys do. And this is something that I'm going to continue to point out time and time again. Because this whole idea is preposterous. What this woman went through is totally ridiculous, and she did not deserve any of it. But let's continue with the diarrhea, guys, because I think that it's extremely important that we expose this Christian and how morally bankrupt he really is. Question 1, guys. Was the husband wrong for having sex with his wife while she was pregnant and in pain? The Christian basically says it depends. Had he just had sex with her in the last few days, then perhaps he should have put her need to not experience more pain and discomfort ahead of his need for sex. But if she had been in pain for weeks or a month and he finally came to her and said, "Babe, I need this, I promise I will be quick," then she should have put his need for sex above her need to not experience additional discomfort. Really? Really? As far as I'm concerned, this individual should have respected his wife in regards to the pain that she was going through. This individual is sick and twisted, guys. It is never okay to force one's self on a woman if she doesn't want to have sex for any reason. But this individual absolutely thought that it was necessary, that he could simply apply himself to her sexually. And this is wrong. This is totally wrong. And this is what this ideology promotes. The article continues by saying it gets worse from here. with the caveat that a husband shouldn't force himself on a wife who can't have intercourse for medical reasons, although in those cases the wife should meet her husband's sexual needs in other ways during this time. He reiterates that he does not advocate for a Christian husband to force himself upon his wife. However, but the short answer is no, he is not being selfish for having sex with his wife simply because she is not in the mood. The Bible is clear that for the purposes of sex, the wife hath not power of her own body, but the husband. And likewise also the husband hath not power of his own body, but the wife. 1 Corinthians 7:4. So, according to this idiot and the ideology that he believes in, it is perfectly fine to have sex with a woman even if she doesn't want to have sex. It is perfectly fine to have sex with a woman even if she is experiencing medical problems. This individual actually has the delusion that a woman is just being selfish when it comes to sex. This is preposterous, and not only that, guys, it is actually disgusting. And that is why I'm going to continue to bring these types of Christians out into the open for everyone to see. And that is why I'm going to continue to call out this ideology on its nonsense. It has to be done, because we see the harm in society that this ideology causes. We see the terrible influence that it has. This article is another prime example of that. And while he may claim not to advocate for marital rape, he is eager to defend it. And guys, I actually think that this is the case here. It seems to me that this morally bankrupt Christian, this bigoted Christian, if you will, is basically speaking out of both sides of his mouth at this point. I mean, it's literally that ridiculous. Because Jesus, of course, in fact, a few points later, he specifically addresses the issue of rape in about as odious a fashion as you can imagine. Is her husband raping her or abusing her by having sex with her when she is not in the mood? Is the question here. Aside from his physically harming her by forcing himself upon her, no, he is not abusing his wife from a biblical perspective. Even if he did physically force himself upon her, it is impossible, biblically speaking, for a man to rape his wife. Abuse? Yes. Rape? No. That's right, guys. This individual Christian has this idea that there is no such thing as rape. So when a woman brings it up, they just laugh at her. They don't take her seriously. They don't take anything that she is going through because of this ordeal seriously. And that's sad to me. This is something that infuriates me, guys. And that is why I will continue to make these videos. When a rape does occur, you ignorant idiot, there is harm, and it does actually exist, both psychologically and physically. This is abuse. This is a reality that you do have to deal with whether you like it or not. And I know that there are Christians out there like you who will flat out refuse to deal with reality, and because of that fact, I will continue to expose you for the morally bankrupt Christian you truly are. And that's all I have to say about that. Not content to simply justify marital rape, because rape isn't rape if the rapist is married to the victim, he goes on to explain how the victim is actually the one at fault here. If he convinces her to yield her body to him, then no sin has been committed on his part. But it is very possible that even if she yields to him, there is still sin on her part if she acts disgusted by him and acts like he has no right to have sex with her. Then the sin lies squarely in her court. She needs to eliminate the terms rape and molester from her vocabulary regarding her husband's sexual advances toward her. That's right, guys. According to this bigoted and delusional Christian, it doesn't matter if this woman is hurting physically or psychologically. It is all her fault, and all she wants to do is just sin. Not only that, according to this idiot, she should just basically give it up every time that her Christian husband wants it. This is pathetic, guys. And I worked really hard on this video today because I wanted to go into this article in great detail, because I wanted to expose the horrible atrocities that this religion has. I wanted to expose as much as I could as far as this ideology is concerned, because this is harmful to society, guys. And mostly this is harmful to women. Because like I have said many times before, guys, Christians like this really do not respect women at all. They think that they are subhuman. They think, again, that they will never bring anything of value to the table, and they just want to accuse them of simply wanting to sin simply because they refuse sex. This is ridiculous, guys. And this, again, is another reason why I cannot take an ideology known as Christianity serious. This is what morally superior Christians offer. This is a joke to me, and it will always be a joke as far as I'm concerned. This is a prime example, guys, of how not to act in society. Bottom line is this: if a woman refuses sex, simply leave her the fuck alone. Stop imposing your ideology on these women, because quite frankly, they do not deserve to be subjected to this idiocy that you push forth in society. And that's all I have to say about this. So until next time, guys, be safe, and I thank you all for watching this video.